This is episode 64 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Stephanie Walter. Stephanie is a wealth strategist, speaker, syndicator, and the CEO of Erbe Wealth. She teaches hardworking professional people to unlearn what most of us have been wired to think about money. Her new book, Shattering Money Myths, How the Wealthy Invest, is out now. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I always like to start in the same place. When you were growing up, did you have an interest in real estate?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, like when I was a child, no, not really.
Yeah, when was the first time where you thought real estate might be a vehicle for you, financially or otherwise in the future?
I think when I was in my gosh, I would say my early 20s, I would see my dad. He purchased different pieces of real estate and I liked it. It always made sense to me. So I didn't start investing myself until I was 30. So
Yeah, like what kind of investments was your dad into that you were looking at the time, thinking, "Oh, this might be something."
he would do a little bit of everything. He converted a house into his office, and that was a big undertaking. And I remember being like 10 or 11, going and doing yard work and stuff over there.
Yeah.
And then he had like an interest in small commercial pieces of property that he could get a good deal on. So yeah.
Yeah,
Those,
was he investing locally, like in the town that you live? That's what my
yeah.
dad did too, and that's how I learned too. I was just looking at like, why is he buying all these junky buildings? And then I
Yeah.
figured it out later.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. He did it right in Colorado. So yeah.
Yeah. So at
Mhm.
what point did you decide, this looks fun for me as well? And then of course you transitioned into what you're doing now at your company through another career.
Yeah, no, I think I yeah, it was I was 30, a little over 30, and I bought my first single family property, and then I transitioned that into a rental. So I guess I was doing the BRRRR strategy,
Yeah.
and I was single at the time. So my realtor at the time said that I was like the slumlord of Sloan's Lake, because he hated this area in Colorado called Sloan's Lake was sort of dumpy at the time.
Yeah.
I just was like, no, this area is going to be good. I know it's going to be good. It's so close to Denver. It has to be good. And sure enough, it completely turned around. But yeah.
So where did you go from there in your investment journey? And then of course we'll get to, where you are with Airbay Wealth.
Yeah, no, well, I was actually, while I was buying single family homes, I owned an insurance agency, and that was kind of what I was doing for my retirement. And so then in 2016, I was brought into a boot camp that talked about buying apartments, and that was when I was first exposed to the concept syndication,
Yeah.
is where just a group of people are buying a property that no one could do on their own. And I love that concept. And so, I just went in and got signed up and did training for, I don't know, 2 years really to get your master's in commercial real estate, essentially. And then from there, I started buying, did my first syndication in 2018, and I met up with my partner, and I was good at raising money and he was good at finding deals.
Yeah.
And that's where we just sort of did 12 deals together up at this point, and I raised a lot of money from the wealthy, and by dealing with them, learned a lot about how they were handling their finances, which was really different than the way I was. So yeah, that was my next step for sure, was into syndication.
When you first started raising money, what do you think maybe a couple tips for others, who maybe have the background, they understand what syndications are, but they don't understand how to, you know, I guess get money from people the right way.
Yeah, yeah. The best advice because I tried so many different things when I started, I really had no clue what I was doing. I was just one of those that was going to ask everybody. I had no problem asking,
Yeah.
but I learned a lot of things that worked and didn't work. I think that the biggest thing I tell myself today to do back then was to get a group of people that are on an email list that you regularly email. Basically, it could be as simple as just sharing a link about what's going on in the real estate community that you're looking at, and, just touching base and kind of positioning yourself as someone that is doing this and knows what they're doing. And essentially I think that's the best way to get, for me, it was, I had a lot of referrals. Once you start dealing with people with money and you do good by them, then you get lots of referrals from people. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a group of people, that listen to them for whatever reason, and they should really take advantage of that, even if they don't have a deal right now.
Yeah. In terms of the back half of your book, How the Wealthy Invest, you had said before that you found that they were investing much differently than you were. What were the differences that you found, that you're still working with that hypothesis now?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is their mindset and how they're looking. I look at money like most every other person did at that time. I was viewing my investments as accumulating. My idea was I was going to keep buying these rental properties. I really didn't care how much they were cash flowing, but in 30 years, they'd be paid off and then I could retire. And that was my whole plan. And the wealthy come from a different perspective. They use the utilization mindset. So they're constantly using their money any and all times to generate usually cash flow, sometimes appreciation, but they know at any time that their money is working for them, similar to like an employee. What are you doing for me today? And that's when I realized that I had these properties and I was cash flowing maybe $100, a couple $100 every month. And that certainly wasn't in line with, the equity that I was working with in those properties. So then that's when I, repositioned a lot of my assets, and I was able to, sell my agency because I had replaced my business income at that time. But most people, every American pretty much that has a 401k looks at their money as accumulation mindset, and they put the money into a 401k and they set it and forget it. They don't know what it's invested in or the fees or anything like that. And that is just not what a wealthy person does with their money.